Let me get that out of here. All right. Peace, world. Thanks for pressing play another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. I had to come and check in on. I'm rained in today. Not able to play outside on my bike, so I got a little chance to blow the dust off my equipment and do my little media thing, I guess. But a couple titles that I've been following the last couple of weeks are Prime Video's The Terminal List, starring Chris Pratt and Taylor Kish. That's 8 episodes long. I just finished up the season finale on that one, and then also this Thursday night on FX, 10 o'clock Eastern time. We'll get the. I was 1 week early in talking about it. Last week was the penultimate season 1 episode. This Thursday night we'll get the season finale of The Old Man, starring Jeff Bridges, John Lithgow, and Amy Brenneman and Aaliyah Shakwat or something. Both of them involve. CIA is. I guess the CIA is in The Old Man. Is at the center of The Old Man international espionage, and then the Terminal List with Chris Pratt just deals with. Well, it's a little bit of CIA involved in there with Taylor Kish's character Ben, and then the FBI gets involved with with that detective. I think that's the guy from not Sons of the Mayans, or Mayans, whatever that. I haven't watched either one of those shows, but I think it's maybe just the Mayans. But I guess for me, and I'm really just gonna keep my point somewhat simple. It's really not comparing the two shows against one another. They are completely different in a lot of ways, but it's basically dudes and guns, right? And there's some international travel involved. Uh, but that's what it is. So I think the one thing for me, I saw a lot of criticism coming out against the Terminal List, being that it was a very slow burn. Um, it was dragging along. It's very dark. Um, very grim and so on and so forth, and just takes a lot of time to get to where it's going. Just a quick synopsis on it. Chris Pratt plays the commander of a SEALs team that was set up early in episode one. They were on a mission and were ambushed, but it comes to light that they were set up to be killed off. And he survives, and when he comes back to the States to try to piece together what happened, or when they try to they tried to blame what happened on a couple of his SEAL team members, he starts to realize that something else is going on, and very quickly it escalates into he wasn't he figures it out that basically he wasn't supposed to survive. But since he is back, he's kind of this loose end that really needs to be tied off. And then that kind of brings him full center with who the ops are for the show. Which, spoiler alert, it turns out to be the government is in on it, like the defense secretary is in on it. And then the big spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the Terminal List, and I knew it was going there. I started seeing where it was going, probably with 3 or 4 episodes left. But you see, it's a reason why Taylor Kish is on the show. I'll just leave it at that. But I didn't hate the show though. Like I said, I finished the 8th and final episode earlier today. It is a bit of a slower show, but I think I respect the attention to detail. It doesn't do anything. The story doesn't do anything without showing you how you got there. And I think when I in the title of this particular live chat, when I'm talking about the Terminal List versus the old man, I think that's one thing that's kind of that's one detail or aspect of the old man that I'm kind of not feeling is that they jump around without giving a without giving us a lot of details of how these things are happening. And I don't know, just we've all been watching these shows for the longest now. And I mean, you can cut some corners and save some time and whatnot, but it just seems like they're a little they're not too judicious with doing it over on the old man. For instance, for an example, last episode, Lithgow and Angela are over in Africa, I believe, Northern Africa, maybe. And then the show's real old man, we've been led to believe that it was Jeff Bridges as Dan Chase. But early in this penultimate episode, I started piecing together that the old man may really be the much older man who's now retired. And by the end of the show, John Lithgow's Harold Harper lets it out the bag that the old man is calling some shots here and kind of manipulating some things and is making some plays here. So now me and you got to band together to go at him and to save his daughter. But what they did here at the end of this next to the last episode, well, the old man goes back and meets with the contract killer. I need to hear somebody else pronounce that brother's name so I can pronounce it. But he goes and his plan is to get somebody that's off the books to work together with the Waters cat that nobody likes in the CIA. And he just goes and he's going to put together this special team to go overseas, track down Harold Harper, Dan Chase, Angela, and make this entire situation go away, is what's being set in place. Well, by the end of the episode, Waters, the contract killer, they all show up where John Lithgow is, and now where Dan Chase is, and now where Amy Brenneman, where they're all located. I don't even know if is it Morocco? Maybe it was Morocco where they went. And then the contract killer just shows up, grabs Angela at this airport, and then Harold comes down the escalator and sees Ray Waters in the truck, and he's aware of what's happened. So he goes back up the escalator to try to get to Angela to see what's going on. Is she okay? What's happened? He realizes, something has that others are now involved. But they didn't show us anything about how this new team got the location of the people that they were hunting. And the criticism of the show is that it's really become driven by these very long conversations between specific characters, and it's just these really long talks that are dominating the show, and there's not a lot of action. So it's like we could get rid of some of these longer discussions and some of this dialogue that is very well written, but we could get rid of some of that and actually show us how these pieces are moving around the chessboard would be better for me. So that's what I'm getting at. I'm taking up 10 minutes to say is the terminal list might be a bit of a drag, but obviously as Chris Pratt's Reese, as he's putting together the names on his hit list or on his terminal list, and as he's conducting his investigation to understand who killed his men and who targeted him, and most importantly, who killed his baby girl and his wife, it basically walks us through what's happening and why it's happening. And that's just what the old man really hasn't excelled at to this point. We just we just kind of being dragged along. And I think when you're talking when you're doing shows in this genre with the cloak and dagger stuff, the frogmen, the espionage, um, these contract killers. When you're doing a show like that, I don't know, just don't dumb it down too much, and don't like cheat. That's all. Just don't cheat. You know, you got to walk us through how all of this stuff is happening. I mean, we know a lot of this stuff is far fetched anyway, um, and so on and so forth. But I mean, come on now, we're like 12 years or 15 years or something into watching Jason Bourne and um man, we can't even think of all Homeland and all of these types of different shows. They've been tracking down international terrorists and all this stuff for years now, and we can follow along. But you just can't you can't keep us in the dark and just pop up with the characters in certain places, and we just supposed to sit here and not complain about how things are happening. Another through line between the two shows is, a lot of flashbacks being used in both of them. And I'm kind of softening my stance on the old man. I understand the pressure that some of these shows are under, the timelines. You could lose your audience, and they're basically trying to tell us on the old man. They're trying to tell us really how the story really got here, and they're telling two stories at once. They're telling events that transpired in the 80s that set all this up, and then they're also we're following along in current day of how it's being resolved. So I kind of do understand the flashbacks. This last episode, they actually used the flashback to enable us to understand the relationship between Dan Chase and this Russian character who he thought was going to put him in touch with Faraz Amzad, and why the flashback showed us why he knew this man, and then furthermore why he felt like this character owed him a favor. It went south for him, but that's what the flashback was there to set up, that whole meeting and what was supposed to come out of it. So I understood it. Over on the terminal list, they use flashbacks because the main character Reese has memory issues. He has a severe brain injury. Period. Which was not necessarily caused by an explosion that went off in the first episode. It was some things going on with his brain before he got over to the Middle East, and they got ambushed. The only thing is here with the flashbacks from the terminal list, yeah, it's messing with his memory. It's messing with like his motor skills, and obviously you can't be sitting here dealing with guns for hire mercenaries and all of these people, operators, and you can't waste a split second not being aware of where you are, what you're trying to do. And so it kind of gets to be a little it kind of bugs you a little bit, because when he needs to kill somebody, he's going to be able to do it, because he can't sit here daydreaming, why a dude has a chokehold on him, and so on and so forth. But like I said, man, I ended up I was pretty pleased with the terminal list. It looks like there's a possibility for a second season. Uh, we know what it's trying to do as an actioner or a vehicle for Chris Pratt. He's an executive producer on there and whatnot. And I'm not, it was a good show. I thought it was a solid show. It was a little better than what I thought it was going to be. It started out pretty decent. It did get into a little bit of a drag, but I think the last few episodes it finished very strong. looking over at the old man, they got quite a bit to do in an hour. I don't know if it's going. I thought one of the episodes might have been like an hour and a half or hour and 20 minutes. They have a lot of loose strings to kind of tie together um in this final episode, and some of the collateral damage or potential collateral damage, uh it's a lot going on. You know, Dan Chase has to, him and Harold Harper have to come together and work together. He's dragging around this woman that's been in the game for all of 10 minutes. You got the hit team, the cleanup team or whatever that's in the mix. We still haven't seen current day Faraz Amzad and what his what his organization is, or who the ops are going to be besides this lawyer that's popped up once or twice. So they got quite a few things to do over on the old man. I'm optimistic that they can get it done, but with it being network TV, and that's another thing, very rarely do I watch a show, a series week to week, and I have been tuning into this one on Thursday nights. And maybe that's why, I got a little agitated with it and its pacing and what it was doing. Maybe it'd be better served if I watched it like most shows I watch, where I have the ability to watch 2 or 3 at a time, or even just binge a whole season. So we'll see what happens this Thursday night. Said I'm optimistic, but I think they could definitely tighten up the storytelling just a little bit. The details, the what do they call it? Trade craft. Let us know how they're doing some of this stuff. It's some parts I was gonna mention earlier in the series of the old man. Like, did I miss that this stuff was happening? They did take the time to really set that up and showed how it happened, or did they not? Like, how did Angela give her father a warning that the contract killer was coming? Did we see that? Like, and maybe because of the lengthy conversations and the phone calls, maybe I went and got a soda at that time and I missed it. But some of this stuff has been happening, and I just don't. Even the way that Harold put it together, that Angela was Dan Chase's daughter Emily, and that it was how he did all of that, like just taking 5 steps, like literally he got a phone call and then just quickly figured it out. Oh, it's her. And I know she does a lot in his life. He leans on her a lot away from work and everything, and it's his mentee. He's been a father figure and a mentor and everything. But why didn't he think it was Waters? So little details like that have just been bugging me. Anyway, let me get on out of here, man. Pay me no mind, sports. If you're enjoying both of the series, then pay me no mind. But I'd be interested to hear where you are with either one of them. But let me get on out of here. Like I always say, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.